I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. Continuing my reading in the Doctrine and Covenants, my last reading was section 117, and that was instructions to three men, William Marks, Newell K. Whitney, and Oliver Granger. We also learned a little bit more history with the mountains of Adamondi Amen and Oleha Shenea. But this is still July 8th. And remember, we're in a very tumultuous time here. We had to excommunicate three of the apostles. Mobs have formed in Kirtland, driving the saints out of Ohio, and a large body of saints is traveling west at this time. I believe they are led by Hiram Smith. So in this time of tumult, a lot of questions are arising. That's what the last few sections have been about. And now we will read section 118. The heading states, Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet at Far West, Missouri, July 8, 1838, in response to the supplication, Show us thy will, O Lord, concerning the 12. Recorded in History of the Church, Volume 3, pages 46 to 47. Remember that three members of the quorum have been excommunicated. So there are only 9 apostles at this time, and they are wondering how they are to move forward. Now, in Far West at this time, in Missouri at this time, there are 5 apostles. We have Thomas B. Marsh, Brigham Young, David Patent, Parley P. Pratt, and now I can't remember the 5th guy. I'm sorry. I can't remember there's 5 of the apostles are here in Missouri, and they're wondering what they need to do. Remember, Orson Hyde and Heber C. Kimball were on the mission in England, but they have now returned to Kirtland. They are back in Kirtland at this time. I don't think they're part of the Kirtland camp that's moving out here, but they might be. I can't remember, but I don't think they are. So that is where they, but the other 2, there are 2 other apostles that I can't remember where they're at. I think they're out in the mission field. But that's what's going on here. So let us read section 118. Verily, thus saith the Lord, let a conference be held immediately. Let the 12 be organized, and let men be appointed to supply the place of those who are fallen. Let my servant Thomas remain for a season in the land of Zion to publish my word. Let the residue continue to preach from that hour, and if they will do this in all lowliness of heart, in meekness and humility, and long suffering, I, the Lord, give unto them a promise, that I will provide for their families, and an effectual door shall be opened for them from henceforth. And next spring let them depart to go over the great waters, and there promulgate my gospel, the fullness thereof, and bear record of my name. Let them take leave of my saints in the city of Far West on the 26th day of April next, on the building spot of my house, saith the Lord. Let my servant John Taylor, and also my servant John E. Page, and also my servant Wilford Woodruff, and also my servant Willard Richards be appointed to fill the places of those who have fallen, and be officially notified of their appointment. Yes, there were 4 that were excommunicated. I missed one. I know there's Luke and Lyman Johnson and John F. Boynton were all excommunicated. Not sure who the 4th one was now. I'll have to review that, find out. But this is what God is saying here. We got to replace them first. And he calls these 4 men. These 4 men are called to replace them. John Taylor, John Page, Wilford Woodruff, and Willard Richards. Now, John Taylor and Wilford Woodruff will eventually become presidents of the church. John Page and Willard Richards, I'm not sure their end fate. Oh, Willard Richards is in Carthage jail with Joseph Smith at the end. But these are their appointments. Now, they are also commanded. So Thomas B. Marsh is to stay in Zion, stay in the area to minister to the saints. The rest of them are to go out and preach. But they are to gather again in Far West, April 26th in 1839. And from there, they are to cross the great waters, meaning another mission to England, or to Europe. The great waters, this is referencing back to 1 Nephi, where they cross the great waters to come to America. Now the saints will be crossing the great waters to go back to Europe. Now this meeting on the April 26th of 1839 will take place, even despite all the persecutions. The saints will be driven from Missouri this following winter of 1838, but the 12 will return to hold this meeting. Now after this, I do want to mention that shortly after this, they hold their conference, their meeting, as is commanded in the first verse of this section. And at that meeting, there's only the 5 of them are there. Remember, there's only 5 here in Missouri at the time. So they meet and they have 2 resolutions. First, to summon all the apostles to Far West so that they can reform the quorum. And second, as is stated, notify the 4 men who have been appointed as apostles in the stead of those who have fallen. And in this resolution, it is not just, we got to send those. No, different people are given the assignment to notify different men. I can't remember all the assignments except Sidney Rigdon is given the assignment to notify Willard Richards, who currently is in England as a counselor to the mission presidency there. So they're going to send word to Willard Richards and bring him back from England to serve as an apostle. The others are sent, individuals are sent to notify each man, and they are all brought and they will eventually be ordained. But this is God saying, yes, if there is a vacancy, you need to fill it. I'm going to leave that here, short and sweet, and I believe we turn to section 121 next. And I believe that's also going to be about a 1-year jump in history. So I might do another historical overview next before I continue reading. We will see how it goes. I will see you there, whichever one I do next.